Salutations, brothers and sisters. This is Orapotist, Maximus. I want to take a little time to talk about this idea that I've had. It's called the Jonah Project. The Jonah Project, or the Jonah Movement, which it may well become, is the last mass movement in America for the reconciliation of the races. Its aim is to secure the resources of this nation in order to survive and thrive as an independent, yet codependent people. If my memory serves me correctly, I believe it was the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. who said, and I quote, that we are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. End quote. I believe that it is impossible or improbable to extricate the contributions of so-called minorities from the fabric of American society without destroying it. It is like a wise and competent doctor or surgeon who deems it prudent, in spite of all the modern technological advances, because extrication may prove fatal. As an African-American male, this is no substitute for black nationalism. Malcolm X, nearing the end of his mortal life, had a major change of heart in his philosophical and understanding of race relations as it should be in America. He felt that a brotherhood of races could exist under the right and proper circumstances. His demonization or devilization of the entire race he thought was logically fallacious. For even the God of righteousness, creator of the human race, is seen clearly in the Bible and other books of moral authority as a wrathful but exceptionally merciful God, even for the hearts of depraved souls. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the leader of the Black Muslim movement and the Nation of Islam, which happens to be the underpinning of my philosophical and theological base, believes, based on history, that the American white man is a damnable devil incapable of being reformed. But like many who grow in their beliefs, I use the Minister Louis Farrakhan himself as an example. Over the years, have moved from this basic belief of the black Muslim to a more inclusive and more tolerant belief system. Hence, black nationalism and my belief of the necessity of races would be the only other option. If my memory serves me correctly, I believe it was the preamble of the Constitution that says, and I quote, when in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for people to dissolve the political bands that connect them to one another, to assume amongst the powers of the earth a separate and equal station, to which the laws of nature and nature's God compel them to the separation. As an African-American male, I am offended when whites suggest that blacks should be the ones to leave America in response to this dilemma. But I say that we're not going anywhere. Why should we, the so-called African Americans, or any so-called minority groups, should forsake and leave behind a new world that we were responsible for creating? My thoughts are, why should the Native American, the indigenous people, should live only in the hearts and minds of Americans as an afterthought, as if they are no longer worthy of reclaiming their place in the sun, but should be regarded as a conquered people and noble savages? I ask the question, why shouldn't good whites, if the term itself, good whites, is an oxymoron, hence a contradiction in terms, if given the opportunity to prove that all whites is a fallacious concept, they, like the wicked nation of Nineveh in the Bible, should too be given a chance of repentance in spite of its indisputable reputation as being wicked also. I am a student of history. I am not naive. For I possess the knowledge that whites have proved to be nothing but devils in the grand scheme of race relations in America. According to the teaching of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the white man in America is not a devil, but the devil. Not some red man in red tights in the center of the earth, but the devil incarnate. So that begs the question, can the devil be reformed? The Jonah movement seeks to put this issue to rest once and for all. Are white people in America like the wicked city of Nineveh of old, deserving a final opportunity to make right the wrongs of past generations? As a man of God, I think it only right that every generation, every so-called new generation, should be given and afforded a small window of opportunity. White America, I am not your judge. The God I serve chastises even his own children in saying that we must practice mercy if we want to be recipients of mercy, suggesting that God is not only a wrathful God, but is also capable of extending mercy at the same time, as evident in the biblical story of Jonah in the wicked city of Nineveh. Hence, the Jonah Project. Again, I am not naive. I think it only prudent to create allies and not enemies. What if we could build a mass movement of all people striving for the survival of diverse groups? What if we as blacks and members of so-called minority groups could extend an olive branch, just for a moment, to America and reach to the so-called goodwill whites? What if we could create a climate for dialogue? Is there a chance for the reconciliation of the races in America? Again, if my memory serves me correctly, I believe it was the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. who said, and I quote, "Either we learn to live together as brothers and sisters, or we'll surely perish as fools." What if America, like Nineveh, repents of its past transgressions and shows a genuine and true change of heart and bears fruit in concrete action to rebuild the world of the indigenous people and then to African American descendants, to repair the damage done and to extend the necessary reparations needed to level the playing field for all the so-called minority groups in America, to offset decades and centuries of white privilege? Again, I am not naive. We, the people of the Jonah movement, will not declare victory over just some good-feeling Kumbaya song, but real distribution of wealth in America so that the races can secure the blessings of liberty for themselves and their prosperity. Thank you for listening.